So very excited to be here with everyone today and on behalf of Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario, presenting on our model with a few others here from our team. So wanted to start off with some introductions so I can kick us off and get started. My name is Karleigh Darnay, and I'm the Director of Clinical Practice and Implementation with the Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario Provincial Office, or our backbone team. I am a member of Garden River First Nation and am of mixed ancestry, and I've been with our YWHO team for about 10 years now, actually. So really appreciate being here and having the opportunity to speak with you all, and I'll pass it to Hazel next.
Okay. So I'm from originally from Mukwamacong First Nation on Manitoulin Island, and I've been working in employment education training for most of all my adult life and going into my older life. And so I've been very engaged with Ontario Youth Wellness Hubs as a member to the Parent Indigenous Advisory Committee for YWHO. And then I've been very grateful to be a part of the Access Open Minds initiative as well when we look at the national efforts there. And so anyway, thank you. I'm very glad to be here to share what both, I guess, what a perspective of a national and provincial initiative when it comes to Indigenous mental health and wellness.
Thanks, Hazel. And Erica is here somewhere. I saw her earlier. So pass it to you next, Erica.
Hey everyone, my name is Erica Treleaven. I've been with the Kenora Youth Wellness Hub for 2.5 years now. I started as a mental health and substance use counselor and recently moved into the program manager position earlier this summer. So I'm excited to share what Kenora has been doing down here and learn about even what you guys all do, because this is my first meeting.
Thanks,
Mhm.
Erica. So lots of different perspectives I think that each of us are bringing to the presentation. And to start us off, we always like to acknowledge and share gratitude that we are representing a very broad network and decades, centuries of work that has really been building, that the YWHO model has really built from, and an understanding of a more holistic model of care that can really be more respective and accessible for young people's needs across the province. And the model was developed in collaboration with many young people, family members, community members across the province, different providers, policymakers, system leadership. And so we are a small but mighty team presenting on the work that's been happening in Ontario for a long time now. So what we're hoping to cover today, we'll start and really just want to provide a little bit more context on some of the current needs that we're seeing in communities that we work within. Then sharing a brief overview of the YWHO model for services and what those services actually look like. We're really happy to have Erica here, who will be able to share what those services look like at the Kenora Hub in particular. Sharing a little bit about some of the youth resources that we have, and then like future directions for what we envision is needed within our network here in Ontario, but then also for some of the national work that we're involved into, and then hoping to open it up for questions and discussion at the end. So I'll pass it to Hazel next, and Hazel and Erica are going to start us off with some of that contextualization before we dive into the model.
Okay, thank you, Miigwech, Karleigh. So I just wanted again share, I guess, when it comes to my involvement with YWHO and the Provincial Indigenous Youth Family Advisory Committee. So I was invited in through my daughter that was experiencing some hardships, and so she found support with YWHO, especially when it comes to the leadership aspect in moving toward wellness. So she's still an active member on PIFAC as well. So anyway, the other, I guess, to set the tone, I just wanted to have all of us reflect around the medicine wheel today and to put young people at the very center of that medicine wheel. When I visit the young people that I have in my own immediate workplace is to always remind them just how powerful they are, just as little babies, because no matter who it was, somebody wanted to cuddle us and take care of us and nurture us. That's how powerful we are to affect other people. And so knowing that, when it comes to mental health and wellness, especially when we look at why wellness hubs were designed, was to address those service gaps, mental health and wellness, and to counter the issue of substance abuse and use in our young group of people that we're serving. And again, just trying to meet those individual needs and to strengthen those partnerships, which I think Erica is going to enlighten us just how important it is to reach out to those local service providers to deliver, directly in a area that's meaningful and accessible. And the other, when it comes to improving experiences and ensuring those outcomes are favorable for our youth, then it's really trying to create those cultural spaces of knowing and doing. So that's our primary purpose as far as meeting the needs of Indigenous youth and at the wellness hubs. I know there's so many when it comes to social determinants of health. There's always, I guess, when it comes to supporting our young people is first and foremost to stay in school, return to school, seek that employment, and housing is always an issue for so many young people. So there's so many, I think when it comes to this one-stop shop, then, there's a better opportunity for case management. So knowing that this medicine wheel, there's so many teachings around that medicine wheel when we look at all the gifts that come from each of the four directions. And today, I just want to enlighten the four seasons of life, the four elements of life, the four stages of life, and our medicines that we hold very special, sacred to healing and wellness. In the medicine wheel, when we look to the east, that's where our children are found, to be a part of that sacred circle, and then our youth, then our adult, then our older adult. And from when it comes to individual outlook and life purpose, we all have our own personal sunset, and we all have our personal or sunrise and sunset. So it's trying to again promote good life and long life by knowing these beautiful ways of knowing just how precious life is. And one of the things that I think is important, when we have this opportunity to share and network. I heard this question not too long ago, and I know, like, with Access Open Minds, we're always working towards those solution-based approaches, collaboration, building on youth leadership. And I think that goes at, very much at the provincial level as well. But here's the question that just resonates with me today is, how do we offer genuine healing and resilience when trauma is not just from the past, but it's an ongoing reality, with all of those realities that are affecting our young people today? Just today, I had a visit with the attendance counselor at the high school that I visit, and we're talking about those realities and how we need to protect our young girls, young women from those realities. And I guess when it comes to speaking, when it comes to First Nation community, the only community I could ever speak for is my own home community, where we've been we've just been so impacted by, the drugs that are coming into our communities and affecting our families and our young people. So very much in the medicine wheel, when we look at that center of every young person, that we are always trying to be client centered and focused, and helping to create those that resilience, that discipline, that responsibility, and just lead with integrity. And I know we're all doing that at a national and provincial level, but what more can we do? So I'm really excited about this presentation, about the sharing that's going to happen on from the provincial side of things, and that we maybe find ways to how we can collaborate more at that national level. So Chmigwech, so very, very much.
Thank you, Hazel. So kind of going off of what we have been doing to listen to our youth and our communities around us. So Kenora has experienced a really big increase in human trafficking, especially with us kind of being in between Thunder Bay and Winnipeg. It's become a hub that a lot of people will stop on their way through Highway 17. So because of this increase that we've seen, Kenora itself has come together as a community, and multiple local agencies have collaborated in developing what we call a care unit. So it consists of the Kenora Youth Wellness Hub, Child Family Services, OPP, our Creighton Youth Justice Center. I believe our Sunset Family Health team is on it, as well as a few other agencies within town. And everybody has a little bit of a different role in what type of services they are offering. The hub itself has hired a mobile outreach worker to provide one-to-one support to youth at risk or at high risk of human trafficking. And he uses land-based healing and action therapy to work with these youth. And then we've also hired additional staff to extend our evening hours to ensure that the hub remains kind of like a safe and accessible space for youth. One thing about Kenora is we're very small, and there really isn't a whole lot of services that are open after 5 p.m. So a lot of youth were experiencing boredom while after school, and kind of instead of being able to go somewhere and hang out, they were finding that many youth were getting a lot of calls to service through OPP, and kind of getting themselves into a little bit of trouble, whether it had to do with human trafficking or substance use. So we've worked together to provide that safe spot. We're now open till 8 p.m. In hopes that many youth will be able to access our services instead. And then we also just recently hired a mobile peer support worker to work alongside our mobile outreach worker, as his caseload has significantly increased. So she will be able to provide very similar services. And then the hub itself has actually seen a huge increase in youth who were impacted by food insecurity. Our data has shown that majority of our youth actually access the hub specifically for a hot meal or to access our pantry service. So following our renovations that we just recently had, we were able to get a full kitchen installed, which has allowed us to provide healthy and nutritious meals. And then with our extended hours, we were also able to introduce a second evening meal for youth. And we are working really closely with community partners to host these meals, and exploring opportunities for local businesses to sponsor meals to support our youth.
Yeah. So I think just acknowledging and being able to hear from Erica and Hazel about the needs that we're seeing in our communities and amongst young people, really wanted to shift into what does the Youth Wellness Hub model look like, and what are the kind of the core components that it comprises, and really trying to imagine a different mental health and healthcare system for young people across the province, where we can work to respond to the needs of young people in our communities and address needs in a more holistic way. So our model of services across the province is to support young people aged 12 to 25, with a focus on serving transition age youth, so youth 18 to 25 that historically are not able to access services from child and youth mental health organizations currently in the province. We have 3 core service pathways, so our mental health and substance use services, as well as primary care services under our clinical service pathway. We then have our community and social support services pathway, which is comprised of education, employment, community and recreational services. And then it's all embedded in what we call our skills and well-being activities. And the services were really set up intentionally in this way because we know that not all young people may be in a position where they are ready or feel comfortable to address mental health or substance use or some of their primary healthcare needs. And we see a really high volume of young people that are really just looking for a space to connect with other young people, to connect with other providers, a safe space to go, to access a warm meal, like Erica was saying, to really build relationships and build community. And that in and of itself can be healing and supportive. And so a lot of activities can be in this service pathway, could be land-based activities, could be cultural activities, language programs, peer support groups. And so Erica will go into a bit more details about what that actually looks like at the Kenora Hub, but we actually see a high volume of young people coming in for those services, and then they are able to feel a bit more comfortable in accessing some of our higher intensity clinical services or other education and employment services that provide a bit more holistic care. But then the opposite also happens too. So young people may come in for clinical services and then are also able to benefit from all of the other skills and well-being activities and support and connecting with other young people and providers through those services too. All of our services locally, but then also the provincial level, we really have a strong youth and family engagement component to all of our work. And so we have provincial advisory groups, local advisory groups, youth staff positions within our provincial office team. And so everything is done in collaboration with young people and with family members as well. And that's a really important part of our model. We have 32 hub networks across the province, and so have seen a lot of growth over the last several years. We have many hub networks now that are either in First Nations or that are serving higher populations or volumes of Indigenous young people that are coming to the hubs. So we kind of have 3 different models for ways that hubs have been set up to support Indigenous young people. So we right now have 2 hubs located in First Nations, so Sagamuk-Anishinaabeg and then Akwesasne. Sagamuk is close to opening. Akwesasne is more recently funded, and so they'll have a bit more time for planning and community engagement prior to selecting a location and opening their doors. But they are First Nations led and located on reserve, but also youth located off reserve have the opportunity to come in and access services to those hubs. Kenora is an example of an Indigenous led organization through the Kenora Chiefs Advisory that works with different community partners that may be Indigenous or non-Indigenous led organizations and surrounding First Nations. And as you'll see from what Erica shares, serves a really high proportion of Indigenous young people that access services through the hub, and a really strong focus on the programs and services to support those young people. And then another example of a different governance structure would be the City and District of Thunder Bay YWHO team. And so it's led by their local child and youth mental health service lead agency. And they have a number of integrated governance partners, many of which include Indigenous led organizations. So they'll work with local community health centers, they'll work with local First Nations, and they do a lot of outreach to surrounding communities, although the hub is located in Thunder Bay itself. We have 6 core components that our provincial office team uses to guide the implementation of our model across the province. I won't go into too much detail here. I already talked about youth engagement and integrated governance. Accessibility is really big too in terms of the hours of availability, where youth are able to access the services in the community, how we support them in accessing services. Inclusive and culturally diverse services is a really big core component too. And so this is the one that I really wanted to focus on, where our provincial office team will work in collaboration with the hub network itself and community partners, including young people, to really understand who are the young people in the community, what are some of their needs in terms of accessing services, what are those kind of supports that need to be in place at the hub, how will the hub feel like a safe and welcoming space for them, and what are the different community partners that we need to be bringing in that are already providing services for young people and bring that expertise so they can offer services out of one space. Another really important governance and guiding document that we have within our provincial office team is, and Hazel mentioned before, our PIFAC team. So it's our Provincial Indigenous Youth and Family Advisory Circle. And this advisory team established the PIFAC 5 priorities several years ago now, which has now been kind of updated into its second term. And these 5 priorities really support guidance for our provincial office team in supporting some of these core priorities across our hub networks as a provincial office team, but then also aligning with the core components that I previously shared and being shared directly with the hub networks themselves. And we do a lot of work to collect lots of different data on our progress in achieving these priorities and being able to share it back with our provincial office team and the PIFAC team. So priority 1 is training for our staff. So creating awareness around Indigenous cultural awareness and anti-racism training. So we provide SONYOS training for all of our provincial office staff team, as well as all of the hub staff team. Priority 2 is collaborating with other organizations and communities. So I kind of already mentioned this as part of our core components and really ensuring that there are Indigenous organizations that are represented as part of our integrated governance structure and able to provide services within hubs and funded to do so in some cases. Priority 3 is youth-centered supports, so focusing on strengths-based approaches, empowering Indigenous youth with leadership opportunities in the hubs, creating opportunities to see the programs and services that youth want to see within the hubs that reflect their own identities and experiences. So again, Erica will go into a bit more detail about what this looks like in Kenora. Broadening the understanding and circle of care is priority 4. So really understanding that youth may have other family members, relations, support people in their lives that they may want to include as part of their service journey. And then priority 5 is increasing Indigenous representation amongst YWHO Hub staff. I would also say amongst our provincial office team staff as well, and tracking and monitoring that. Another really important initiative that I want to call out is our YWHO Virtual Hub. So this is a platform that all of our hub networks are currently using to provide their own virtual services on. But we are going to be partnering with our YWHO Algoma Hub team to launch a provincial virtual service. And the focus will be on serving young people from communities that have really limited access to mental health and substance use services, as well as other integrated youth services, and doing a lot of promotion and community relationship building to help connect youth with virtual services that may not have those services available in person in their own communities. And this will be launching in April and May this year. The last piece that I wanted to call out before passing it over to Erica to speak more about Kenora services was a collaboration that our provincial office team recently was able to wrap up with Inspire, where we worked with a team of youth advisors to develop resources for youth by youth. And so I can put a link to all of our resources in the chat to some really great resources that they had identified that they felt that were missing would really help to provide some educational materials for young people that may be struggling with mental health, substance use, moving to a new community, kind of navigating, moving to like an urban setting, navigating relationships, and really bringing at it from our own perspectives on health and wellness too. Okay, so with that, I'll pass it over to you, Erica, to speak more about the services at the hub.
Thank you, Karleigh. So the Kenora Youth Wellness Hub, we are located downtown on Main Street in Kenora. However, we serve not just only our urban Indigenous youth, but also Indigenous youth from our surrounding communities as well. Our team is made up of our program manager, 2 mental health and substance use counselors, an intake worker, our drop-in coordinator, who's also our team lead for the drop-in as well, a youth outreach worker. We have 3 peer support workers, a mobile youth outreach worker, a mobile peer support worker, gender-based violence specialist that will be joining our team hopefully next month, and then as well as a nurse practitioner. So the Kenora Hub was the first hub to be led by an Indigenous organization. Kenora Chiefs Advisory is aligned with the following First Nations communities that we are surrounded by. So we work very closely with Dolls, Whitefish Bay, Rat Portage, White Dog, Shoal Lake 40, Grassy Narrows, Northwest Angle 33, and Wash Bay First Nation. So we have a youth advisory council that youth meet once a month. We run events with. We hold a space here for them to all meet and kind of just talk about what they would like to see at the hub, any changes that we should be making, and really try to get their voices put into the hub. We currently have 6 youth that are sitting on our youth advisory council. And then we also have a community partnership with over 22 community partners. And this allows us to build community connections and more seamlessly connect youth with supports and services that they may need. So our partnerships are consisted with Kenora Association of Community Living, Taproot, Firefly, who comes in and actually offers counseling services to many of our youth, Northwestern Health Unit, the Kenora District Service Board, Creighton Youth Justice Center, both school boards we partner with, as well as our Sunset Country Family Health Team, Métis Nations of Ontario, CMHA Kenora, Lake of the Woods Employment Action Project, Lake of the Woods Hospital, City of Kenora, WinHack, and Kenora Sexual Assault Center, which these ones are just our main partners that we work with the most. However, we do have quite a few other partners who attend our partnership meetings on an ongoing basis and kind of help navigate where the hub needs to be for the community. And then these main partners are the ones that come in and deliver programming. So we partner with quite a few Indigenous run agencies and supports. Our internal partner is Kenora Chiefs Advisory. So we work very closely with them and many of their programs, such as Right to Play, Makwa Patrol, their diabetes education, their cultural coordinators, as well as their elder council as well. We also work closely with WinHack, who provides cultural teachings and supports, as well as workshops. WinHack's Healthy Promotion team comes to the hub weekly to offer different types of programming. Ontario Native Women's Association has supported us with ID clinics and has also held many events at the hub. We just recently partnered with them back in December for a violence against women's event that they held. We also work very closely with Nietzsche Friendship Center, especially their employment services to provide resume building and cover letters, as well as job and training opportunities for many of our youth. We work closely with Grand Council Treaty 3. They have held workshops in our space, and then they have also supported us financially for certain types of community events. Recently, with our extended hours, Grand Council Treaty 3 has supported us with being able to offer out of the hub events, such as bowling and tubing at the ski hill to be able to bring many youth who might struggle with like social anxiety out into the community and get them connected with staff that they have a really good relationship with and feel supported. And then we've also worked closely with Métis Nations of Ontario. They've provided art kits and collaborated on many projects and events with us. And then they had also in the past delivered digital workshops with a Center of Métis Arts and Cultural Supports. Then the Kenora Youth Wellness Hub's programs and services that we offer. So last year we saw 3,551 youth in our drop-in space. Although this is a pretty big number, it was quite lower last year than it has been in the previous years, as well as this year, just because we were under renovations all last year. So we weren't located in our physical space that we are in now. We were actually located throughout the community. So we were using the local rec center. We used the Justice Center that's just down the street from us, as well as we did a lot of beach days and like community partnership days. We had 60 new youth who attended the drop-in space last year, and we provided 426 different drop-in activities. And 92% of our youth who accessed the space self-identified as Indigenous. So the hub offers clinical support such as primary care, mental health, substance use, and care coordination, and community support such as peer support and employment support to youth 12 to 25 on a walk-in or appointment-based base. Many of the time it is very much a walk-in style. Services are provided to the Youth Wellness Hub team, as well as through in-kind collaboration and service contracts with partners. So like I had mentioned in previous slides, we have Firefly and Lake of the Woods Hospital, who actually comes in weekly and delivers counseling support for many of our youth. We have WinHack and Kenora Sexual Assault Center that comes in weekly to provide programming for many of our youth and just build those relationships. And then we do quite a bit of land-based healing. We highlight the importance of it throughout offering opportunities for youth and staff to connect. We've been able to bring youth to many feasts in the surrounding areas, as well as full moon ceremonies. We work closely with KCA's camp to be able to actually support youth with horse therapy, as well as Right to Play's outdoor programming. We've been able to do counseling on the land instead of in offices. And then we also have our mobile outreach worker who works very closely with youth who are considered at risk or high risk to human trafficking. He works in collaboration with the Kenora OPP, and he provides one-to-one support to youth through land-based healing and action therapy. This is actually a photo of him he had taken multiple youth out fishing throughout the summer. So then we offer multiple basic needs services as well. We are able to provide, we don't have a bus system here in Kenora. Instead, we kind of have similar to Uber in a way, but it's called the Wave. So we are able to offer wave codes to youth to be able to have transportation to school, to work, even just to the hub or in appointments. So this year we've already given out 572 wave codes to many of our youth. We have a pantry service that youth can access weekly to bring home food items to make nutritious meals. And then we also offer our hot daily meals and partner with Salvation Army to connect youth with food hampers, which our outreach worker will deliver once a month to any of our youth that have signed up. We give youth hygiene bags that consist of various amounts of hygiene products. We also recently added a shower into our drop-in space while we were under renovations that youth can access daily, as well as laundry supports as well. We have a washer and dryer that youth can access at any time. And then we've also been able to offer many of our youth phone plans. So we purchase Lucky top-up plans that we give to youth every month for them to be able to connect with other service providers, their families, or for job interviews purposes. And then we take donations of phones and laptops from other agencies, and we're able to give them out to our youth when we have them. We also supply youth with traditional medicines. So down in our drop-in space, we have a table that just has multiple different medicines such as sage and sweetgrass, tobacco, bear root, and cedar. And they are welcome to take any type of medicines home with them. They're welcome to smudge at any time in the space. One of our outreach workers last year actually brought youth to Manitoba to do sage picking. So we've been able to get involved in that way. We also offer gender affirming supports. We supply trans tape and chest binders. We've been able to help with name changes. And then we also have a group called SAGE, which stands for Sexuality and Gender Equality's Peer Support Group. They meet twice a month, and it's just a nice welcome space for anybody who identifies as LGBTQ. And they are able to meet other youth and just have a welcoming space for them. We also offer clothing supports for many of our youth. So we partner with YWHO, another KCA program, to provide clothing support to youth when needed. We also have a full room that is stocked with hub merchandise, such as sweaters and sweatpants and jackets and t-shirts that we can give out to many of our youth. We also do take in donations, especially in the winter, for jackets, hats, and mitts, and are able to provide those. And then we also have our on-site laundry support that they can access. And then we also help with ID supports. We have a multi-agency partnership that allows us to be able to replace certain types of IDs, such as birth certificates, status cards, health cards, and then we also are able to hold them at the hub for our youth so that they do not lose them and they just know that they're in a safe place. We continue to apply for funding opportunities to allow us to focus on culturally rooted programming offerings. We have an elder named Randy White who comes in twice a month to provide supports for youth. He's recently done belt making workshops. He was in the space on Wednesday doing drum making. He's done language teachings, and he's cooked traditional foods for many of our youth. He's also just been available to answer any youth questions. We've also been able to provide honorariums to youth who run programming. We have 2 youth in particular who run programming on an ongoing basis, such as ribbon skirts, beading workshops, and dream catchers. We also purchase the supplies such as beads, hide, felt, fabric, and ribbons so that youth always have access to them to make their own ribbon skirts or dream catchers, or are able to just bring home supplies as well. We actually recently partnered with Alicia Kijik to paint a mural in our upstairs of our hub, which is showcased in this photo. We also partner with WinHack and other KCA programs, which has brought more opportunities for youth to participate in teachings, knowledge sharing, and Indigenous focused health workshops. We always have access to elders within KCA and cultural coordinators that can come by the hub at any time if youth feel like they need to speak with somebody. The hub has also been an important downtown location for community supports to offer after-hours programming like drumming circles and healing circles. And that was all about the Kenora Hub.